Hi, I'm Kurt from Oz Armour and welcome to Workshop Wednesday. I'm very sorry to say that we will not be restoring that transmission to original condition. It is way too far gone. But maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to salvage one of the helical gears. The helical gears are a critical component that plugs into the planetary system in the differential. Now, even if it's too badly damaged, we might be able to salvage it and send it away to a machine shop to be copied. But it's all going to depend on what we find when we crack it all open. So without any further ado, we bring you episode 11 of the Stug 3G.
This is the Stug 3 original transmission. It was actually what was pulled out of this tank. As you can probably tell, it's not much good anymore. But we might be able to salvage the diff off the front of it, which has the planetary gears in it, and get rid of the transmission altogether. Unfortunately, we don't have a replacement one. We do have a Panzer IV one, but then again, that needs a lot of work as well, and it doesn't just match up to this. We're just going to remove that transmission and just get the diff housing as good as we can.
Made out of concrete.
Seems like it now, doesn't it? If you hit it with a hammer, it would probably smash like concrete. So good. It's just destroying it. Sucks, but
I mean,
it's
you couldn't really do that much more harm to it.
I'm actually probably straightening it, if anything.
Doing it a favour.
Yeah.
The differential housing is off. This will need a lot of work and will be the focus of our next Stug episode.
Right, so this is the main, output gear from the end of the transmission that goes into the diff, or the planetary box that goes onto the front. We've got to try and salvage this gear so we can attach it to the front diff. So, and it's not just a normal gear, it's like a helical gear, so it's beveled and it's also curved. So we need to be able to use this one and the other one. There's a huge bearing behind it. It's the same diameter as the gear. And the reason I can see that is because the bottom of the cast housing is actually completely corroded. It's not even there anymore. Right. So inside here we've got two bolts that are holding a locking washer on, and they're tied together with wire to stop each bolt turning. So we've got to take those off, and then we should be able to undo this this locking nut here and be able to remove that helical gear off that. We don't know if it's a spline or if it's on a keyway or what, but we've got to get it off either way. Is it?
Like it was made yesterday.
Exactly, yeah. It's just unbelievable. This happens a lot with German stuff.
Because it's so well made.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's like have a look at the thread. Hasn't been touched in like what 77 years or something, and it's still perfect. Probably better than the bolts we've got in the workshop, the new ones. Probably made better. Oh, look at that. There's also got a keyway on that as well. Oh, wow. I didn't expect to be able to do that just by hand. Oh wow. It's got an internal thread as well. So is that just how it works? There's no external thread, it's all internal. And that was being protected by the washer. Pretty good, you can undo it by hand. That's that. It's got a keyway, so it's not a spline, it's a key. Oh, hang on, no, I'm wrong. It is a spline. So we should be able to lever this gear off now and take that off there, and this is the only part we need anyway. Slippage. The inner of the bearing is actually sticking to it and not allowing it to come out. It's so badly corroded inside. So we're going to have to start cutting this bearing apart and trying to maybe get it out with the inner still stuck to it. Because everything else is off, it should just slip off that spline, but we think that, yeah, it's being held in there by the bearing inner. You can see, you'll probably be able to see from your side, you can see the rollers in here. So it's not a double roller bearing, it's just a single roller bearing. That was just so we could get access to the inner. So you gotta remove the outer to get in there. I don't know how we're gonna go on the top because the aluminium casting's still in the way, whereas the bottom we can access it because there's nothing there. So we might even just cut through, do the same thing with the inner, break it off, and then start cutting into the inner of the bearing as much as we can without, we don't want to go cutting into any shaft in the middle or anything. That's the last thing you want to do, is cut into your shaft. Ready? Oh,
It's fine. It's good.
you get it?
Yeah.
So we've tried heating the inner of the bearing up. It's still not moving, so we're just going to cut through the inner of the bearing a bit without trying to cut into the shaft beneath it.
Glenn saw that we were having a hard time and brought in a bearing puller, but it couldn't grip onto the gear properly.
No, just pulled it off there because it's not square, you know?
Oh well, back to bashing it.
Yeah.
Just the inside. It hasn't budged an inch, so Bo decides to cut more of the bearing away.
I have gone into the shaft a bit there. Now the only thing is, I've got nowhere to lever off on that side. You might be able to get in 3 spots. Try and put it so it's not behind the bearing. Yeah. See, you might just be able to get it, eh?
Glove?
I might put my glasses on actually. Okay.
Doesn't look like it's moving to me.
What? Not moving. Yeah, because you're not doing it right.
That
this
lever
thing?
off that thing.
What's that?
That's the pulley probably have to come off too.
It's moving.
Is it again?
Imagine if it's unscrewed.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Is it again?
Why not screw it? I was only joking.
Is Is it moving, you reckon? Oh, yeah, it is.
This has revealed another spline on the outside of the gear collar, as well as the one running through the middle of it. That's 2 splines holding this gear in place, and we don't even know how far they go into the transmission yet.
We're just extending the feet on the bearing puller. It's got nowhere to purchase really, so we've got to extend the feet a little bit so it gets right in behind to be able to pull it off. Now I've got to put heat into it.
Let's try it without it.
No.
Come on.
It'll bend all the flat bars back.
Oh, really? Does not seem to work.
A lot of pressure on that.
Is it moving?
Don't think so. There should be nothing else holding that on. We took the locking nut off the outside, and we should have been able to remove that gear off the internal spline, but it just must be seized solid. Yeah, I have no idea. We have no idea.
Michael from Panzerfarm in Poland has come to the rescue with some schematics showing the inside of the transmission. Here it is, in all its complicated engineering glory. Here's the gear we need. This is the cap we removed so easily. And this is the internal shaft that runs through the entire gearbox. The gear slips over the top of this on a spline. This is the gear spline collar, which has a spline on the outside as well. It's not looking very promising, but with enough heat, everything holding the gear collar might let go, enabling Bo to pull it free. Bo spends a lot of time planning and researching. He's a skilled metalworker and has a lot of talent. But even the best laid plans can come apart when faced with over 70 years of rust and corrosion. It doesn't help that he isn't feeling so well today either.
There's a few options. You can cut through the spline itself and then pull that gear off, this outer one, and that way we don't damage any of the other gears or anything. Or the main shaft inside. I don't know, that might be the best thing to do, is just cut through the spline. We'll have to get a new gear made anyway with the new shaft on it. Inside that gear. It still wouldn't pull out. No. All that force on it.
Yeah. Just push that back through, if you try. Turn it so I can see. held in the inner and then the outer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's stuck.
That's all you can do.
You don't know if it's bloody stuck.
That's all you can do is keep heating and pulling, you know.
Well, I can heat it again.
They decide to have one last crack at it. First, the rest of the bearing collar has to come off.
How's it look?
Looks alright. Should be coming off. Because it's already a hard material, and then we've gone and heated it up, put a lot of pressure on it, it's just started cracking in certain spots. So we've got a few fractures here and there in it anyway, so it's not usable anyway. We were just trying to get it all off in one piece, but it's not working out for us. We can't use the gear anyway, as the gear is actually rotten. As you can probably see, so we need to get a new one made either way.
It's a bit of a shame that the whole piece couldn't come out intact. There are a lot of factors at play in our approach to vehicle restoration. It's important that we manage our time and resources effectively. If we had several weeks to work on this, Bo might have been able to take the whole part out in one piece, but it basically would have meant destroying the entire gearbox. We considered soaking it, but the time and resources we would need made it not really worth it in the end.
It's a shame we had to cut it off, but you know, it is what it is. We need to get this bit copied, so it's a lot easier to just take this off and take it into the machine shop and get them to make one, rather than taking the whole gearbox in, or, you know, it's a shame, but it is what it is.
At the end of the day, we needed the helical gear, and we got it. And it's going to make our job a lot easier further down the track.
Bo has made a full recovery since filming this episode and has got to work on the differential. And this is something we're going to need to fully restore. So that's going to be an episode you're not going to want to miss, coming up in the near future. Thank you very much for joining us. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe if you have not already. And join us next Wednesday for your weekly tank restoration fix. So until then, I'm Kurt from Oz Armour, and I'll see you on the next one.